Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, the go-to source where the significance of small businesses is not just discussed but celebrated. Each episode focuses on crucial aspects that shape our communities, highlighting the critical role of small enterprises in our economic landscape. This is your host SK, and today we are poised to delve into the world of ICT and the high-tech solutions, exploiting complex challenges and innovative solutions, the underrated value of managed services for SMEs, and the essentials of cybersecurity in the digital age. Joining us today is John Papadakis, the accomplished president and CEO of Acronym Solutions. With over 2 decades of expertise in the ICT and the high-tech industries, John has been instrumental in driving companies like Rogers, Avaya, and Clearnet towards sustainable growth. A University of Toronto alumnus with a B.A.Sc in electronic engineering, John brings a wealth of knowledge and innovative strategies to the table. Under his leadership, Acronym has made significant strides in expanding its reach and enhancing its service offerings. Let's welcome John and learn from his remarkable journey. Good afternoon, John. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, SK?
I'm doing great, John. It's a pleasure to have you on the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Your leadership and, innovative contributions to the ICT sector have been remarkable. We are eager to delve into your experiences and the wisdom you have garnered along your professional journey. Behind every successful professional, it's a story of evolution and learning. John, we are curious about your professional evolution leading to your role at Acronym. Could you walk us through your journey?
Sure, I'd be happy to, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. I will try not to bore you to tears with my history
Feel free
as
to
I
share
went
your,
through this.
like how you started. We
Absolutely,
are eager to learn about.
absolutely. So look, I'm born and raised in Toronto guy, and I started through electrical engineering here at U of T. And along the path, I was always thinking, okay, I want to be part of a really successful technology company and or companies that can make an impact in the world that we're in. So soon right after university, in fact, it was an easier thing than I thought, because at that then time, Northern Telecom, aka Nortel, would come around to the universities and basically look at students and those that had potential and those they wanted to be part of the company. And so I quickly jumped on, which I thought was the best company in the world at that particular time. And it was a great stepping stone for me, right? Stepping stone for a lot of engineers that then move on to do other things. And I learned so much. And the most important thing I learned from there was problem solving and decision making, which is really, again, an overlay of what engineering is about. But if we fast forward, I looked at this and I had opportunities coming, and those were mostly around how do we change the landscape within Canada, the landscape in telecom, the landscape in ICT. And so I joined a company that went and got competition in Canada to become that alternative choice, and that was called Unitel. And then I fast forward, I did the same in the wireless space with a company called Clearnet, which was acquired later by TELUS.
Which year was that like?
So the Unitel, this is dating me now. So this is in the 1990 to 94, 95 time frame. And Clearnet would have been around 95 to 2000 time frame. So, I'm not as young as I might have deceived some people, but thankfully I so enjoy the space that I'm in. So if I fast forward, I've just been fortunate to work for some great companies, big brands, and brands that we took to become big brands. So Rogers and Avaya, I ran Avaya's business for services in Canada and their international managed services. So along the way, it was all about how do I learn, how do I take on more understanding in the space that I'm in, and then how I can make impact in the company that I'm part of in the Canadian landscape.
John, could you highlight any key moments or decisions that were turning points in your career trajectory?
Yeah, it's based on the principles that I always had in my mind, right? First of all, how can I make an impact, again, in the space that I'm in, the servicing of businesses of all sizes, and be that alternative choice. So when you look at some of the decisions that I went to, initially they might have even been considered as high risk scenarios, because you're going early stage in those companies, but I was always driven by how to be that challenger, how to be part of a company that could be a challenger to the status quo, to offer choice for businesses and consumers. The other thing is, how do I learn? How do I always knew I wasn't going to stay within just core engineering. I wanted to layer learnings on top of that. And as I evolved my career, I looked at how do I run and be part of more aspects of a business: sales, marketing, product, not just operations, engineering around myself, so that I can better contribute later on.
John, like your narrative is a powerful illustration of how a strategic foresight and innovation propel the tech industry forward. Listeners, as we navigate through John's remarkable journey, it becomes evident how resilience and strategic thinking paved the way to success in the ever evolving tech landscape. This story isn't just about achievements, it's a testament to the power of perseverance, learning from failures, and the relentless pursuit of innovation. How does this resonate with your own experiences? Have there been moments in your career where a bold decision or an unexpected challenge set you on a new path? Share your stories with us and let's inspire each other with the tales of determination and innovation. Now, when we are talking about the tech landscape, everyone knows, is characterized by its needs for intricate and forward-thinking solutions to complex issues. John, we would love to hear about a time when Acronym tackled a particularly challenging customer problem with an innovative solution.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I get pumped every day, and as my team knows, we spend a significant amount of time on creating value for business, right? Especially in the SMB space. Because I think it's underserved, and I don't think it's well served by what I call the big three and some of the bigger competitors. And in our case, I can give you different examples, but let me start with one. There's a company by the name of JC Green, and an SMB player. And they have what a lot of SMB companies have, typically configurations or equipment or telephony or ICT equipment that is either way past its best life and or out of support. So we worked with them and listened to them, which is the most important aspect, to find out what are their pain points and how do we take them from the legacy of what they have to a cost-effective solution that's going to future-proof them as well. Right. So in this case, they had a legacy telephony system. We provided a UCaaS, Unified Communications as a Service offering at a cost that made perfect sense for them, but also evolved them from bad user experience to a very good user experience, not just within their company, but also how they interface with their clients. And we manage that platform for them, right? And we have, since the conversation, have added more and more services for them, and they've been a fantastic client.
Okay, can you mention any, a unique service or, a special service that you provide to small business owners, specifically for the SMBs?
Yeah, so SMB, I think, has the classic scenarios of needing all aspects of ICT, but really struggling to figure out how can they get that from one provider and or get it in a cost-effective manner. So for us, we have a bunch of different portfolios. See, the obvious, given our roots, would be connectivity and bandwidth type services, right? So internet connectivity, bandwidth, the pipes that really connect and transfer data between that. We layered on top of that what I classify as managed services, managed IT, managed security, management of their platforms and their ecosystem. And then we also have other types of services. I mentioned unified communications, which is a cloud-based managed services if you look at it. So there's other cloud services, infrastructure as a service, unified communications as a service, right? So for us, it's really looking at what stage are they at as a business. What's their starting point? What are their pain points? And how do we enable their business to succeed? It's really not about us. It's really about them, so that they can concentrate on what they are there to do rather than worrying about all the other stuff that is the space that we're in.
And how can our, listeners, small business owners, learn more about your services?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. So there's multiple ways and there's multiple platforms, right? So our website is full of information. So if you hit the Acronym Solutions Inc. website, a short form acronym, you'll find it. We have all sorts of information on there in terms of how do we service the SMB space, the type of services that we offer, white papers, examples of what we've done in that landscape. The other way is we're on all social media platforms. I mean, LinkedIn is an excellent platform for businesses to go after. We're on, all the professional social media platforms, and of course, we'd be happy to share direct lines and other modes of communication. We have a sales team that could easily take those calls and really listen to those clients and their needs.
Thank you for sharing that information. We will also add the details in the podcast description for our listeners. In today's dialogue, John's insights into fostering innovation and tackling complex challenges at Acronym highlight the essence of creativity in driving the tech industry forward. It's not just about solving problems, but doing so in a way that both ingenious and impactful. This approach is something we all integrate into our professional lives, regardless of our field. How do you cultivate a culture of innovation within your own teams or projects? What challenges have you transformed into opportunities with a spark of creativity? Engage with us on this topic and let's exchange ideas that could shape the future of our industries. Now, let's talk about, problem solving strategy that you might have been used in the past and, in your business scenarios. John, in this high pressure situations, what principles guide your problem solving strategy?
Starts by listening. I think you heard me say that until you really understand the pain points of an SMB client, you really don't know how to cater a solution that matters to them. And I think this is part of the challenge. Again, this is not to take a stab at or to have a go at the bigger players, but the bigger players typically have a lot of cookie cutter type solutions. They service many. They don't listen as well as I think you need to, especially in the SMB space, right? So it starts with understanding what it is that their pain points are, what are part of their growth plans, and how we help enable them. The second part is actually looking at what are the nuances that we need to do as a solutions provider that are specific to them. Right? Everyone would prefer to have repeatable, scalable products. They don't always fit everyone that's out there. So there's ways to look at how to cater a solution to those particular SMB clients. And I think you got to build trust. It's all about trust and ongoing relationship. We're not in this just for the in, out, done, move on. Most of our clients have been with us for a very long time. And we'd be very fortunate we have ongoing strong relationships because we put them first. And we look to always delight them in what we offer. And if it's something that we're not going to be able to do, we're not going to try and pretend, right? So it starts with those principles and then building a team and building a passion and a culture to support that.
Thanks for sharing that, John. What is your one key piece of advice when it comes to solving problems, a key piece of advice directly to our listeners, to small business owners? What's the first step they should take, when they are facing this?
Yeah, reach out to companies like Acronym. Understand, don't have these old paradigms that everything costs too much, or it's not possible for a company my size. I'm not a behemoth. If you reach out to MSPs or managed security companies like Acronym, we understand the space that you're in. And that's why we cater solutions around that. It doesn't cost as much. In fact, if you really sit back and think about it, your business is not IT or ICT or cybersecurity or anything of that nature. Your business is the business that you're in. To do all of what I just described, you need expertise like Acronym to be able to come to the table. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to build all that technology and technology understanding internally, the skill set that's required, the cost you need to put forward to do that, and an upkeep technology, as we know, moves at a pace way faster than any of us could possibly think. Just look at us today in terms of how far things have come, whether it's our vehicles or our telephones or mobile phones or any of that. So reach out. Help us understand your pain points and leverage the skill that we have, because we constantly invest in it, because that's the space we're in.
Like John, your approach to navigating complex challenges underscores the expertise Acronym brings to the table. Now, let's talk about the management, managed services. Managed services represents a realm of immense potential for enterprises, whether they are big or small. In your view, John, why is it critical for SMBs to consider integrating managed services into their operations?
Yeah, I touched on some of the reasons. I think, again, cost is an important factor, right? I mean, especially at the size of an SMB, you want to invest in continuous growing of what it is that the business that you're in, whether it's in more sales, whether it's more marketing around your products, whether it's product evolution of what you do. So you have to look at managed services, which encompasses all aspects of knowledge technology at a cost-effective manner as the best solution for you to take and leverage all those things that your business is going to need. Your business is not going to need anything different than a large enterprise. You need to protect your data. You need to move your data around. You need to constantly look at using technology to advance and differentiate what business that you're in. You need to ensure that there are platforms and that are scalable, so that you can grow outside of the area that you might be only servicing in, that you can become more than the starting point that you're at. So managed security allows companies like us to work with you to layer and wrap all those elements together without you having to singularly go out and again invest in each of them individually, build skill set, keep up with the times and technology. Let's look at a perfect case in point. Cybersecurity is hot and heavy, as we all know. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you could possibly be exposed to threats. It is astonishing what it goes on in our world. So leverage a company like Acronym that has managed security offerings, managed IT offerings to protect yourself, protect your data. The consequences could be dire for certainly companies of that size. And so without a plan, you're vulnerable. And I think it certainly serves you well, and it allows companies like us to work with you to put something together that protects all of the investment you made for years in building your company.
Right. John, when you're talking about the managed services, as you know, a lot of small business owners, they are busy in running their own business because they are wearing a lot of hats. Can you define for our listeners, specifically for small business owners, managed services in simple terms?
Yeah, managed services is basically relying on a partner like Acronym that takes that stress and that takes that need that you need to build to protect yourself in terms of not just security, but also to move your data, to enable all the ICT components that you need to run your business. And a company like Acronym does that for you. It's as easy as looking at it as moving things away from you having to invest and someone else making the investment and providing a service back to you. And we call it managed service because we manage it. We take care of it. You don't have to worry about, has someone done that function? You don't have to worry about, is my technology up to date? And oh my God, what do I need to do? I have to go and invest more money on it. You don't have to worry about, am I protected? Do I have measures? Do I have plans that protect my company from that perspective? It's managed for you. It's as if you have a virtual buildup of all those functions internally, but someone else does that for you in its simplest terms.
Right. Folks, today's conversation sheds light on the pivotal role of managed services in empowering SMEs, as illustrated by John's expertise. It's a reminder that in our digital age, aligning with the right technological partners can be a game changer for businesses, offering scalability, security, and efficiency. How are you leveraging technology to enhance your business operations? Are there myths about managed services that you have found to be untrue? Or you have experienced a transformation in your business by embracing these services? Let's dive deeper into the discussion and explore how we harness technology to not just survive but thrive in the competitive business landscape. Let's talk about the myths. Like, what are some common myths surrounding managed services that SMEs might believe in, and how do these services actually serve to their advantage?
Yeah, I guess the biggest one I touched on earlier was cost. There's a belief that, oh, I'm a small company. This is going to cost me a lot of money. That's not the case. And I think this is where, again, you have to reach out to companies like Acronym, your managed service providers, and have that dialogue on how can I encompass that under a managed service scenario, fulfill the needs that I have at a cost that makes sense for me. So this is where we spend a lot of time at Acronym, right? Understanding what is that? What is that cost structure that makes sense for you? More importantly, what are those things that are near and dear to you may not even know. Part of it is exploring what are your pain points? What are your priorities? What are priorities for your business? And therefore, how do they translate into the things that we would do under a managed services scenario? And I think the other thing is it's not this black box scenario. We're experts in it because we've done it for many years. I told you when I started some of these things that I was part of. We have the expertise and knowledge. We demystified managed services. We demystified a lot of these things. Talk to folks like us that can actually demystify and simplify it. I mean, the beauty of Acronym, when I went to rebrand Acronym, we thought a lot about why Acronym. Well, if you look at what an acronym stands for, it's a simplification, right? It's an abbreviation. It's true of what we're trying to do in the SMB space. We want to simplify all this stuff that we talk about as ICT and managed services. Make it easy. Don't you have to worry about it. Let us worry for that at the in a cost-effective manner that makes sense for you.
Right. Your insights illuminate the crucial yet often underappreciated advantages of managed services for small and medium enterprises. Now, let's talk about very important topic for everyone: cybersecurity and data protection. And when it comes to cybersecurity, John, I just want to, as a founder of my own organization, I want to share, there is a big perception, it might cost a lot. I think a lot of small business owners, they think like me, now we have implemented a lot of different solutions, but the thought was oh, it might be too costly, before approaching, for example, when you were talking about managed services, a lot of small business owners might be thinking, okay, it might cost a lot of money. So this awareness and education is very, very important. Now, coming back to the most important topic, the cybersecurity and data protection, how can organizations construct resilient systems to safeguard this essential data?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one that we spend a lot of time in the SMB space in terms of, first of all, starting to educate. And education starts not just us with the SMB working together in a partnership, but also education is one of the most important things in a cybersecurity world. I mean, if we just take our own company, educating people on how to behave, how to interact within all the emails and texts and things that are coming in. What do they do when they see suspicious things? What do they do internally? I think that's a key part of what we do to spend time with the SMBs. The other thing is looking at the aspects of building a structured approach. As a managed security provider, we have a systematized, let's just say, a methodical approach to how we go through and evaluate your starting point and where your endpoint should be to protect yourself in that manner. And there's plenty of cost-effective ways to do that, right? This is not, again, I'm going to break the bank in order to protect myself. There's different degrees. I guess maybe the analogy is like buying insurance. How much insurance is enough insurance? Well, it all depends. Depends on the individual, depends on the scenario, depends on the company, right? So again, for us, we work with you. It starts with education. It's putting in the right discipline, both in terms of approach, but also the systems and tools that we utilize. The managed security aspect of it, again, you don't have to worry about that. Right. I do think, though, that every organization should make it part of their strategy. Make it part of their day-to-day operations, because it really is that important. Don't make it one of 30 items on some person's responsibility matrix, right? Security is that important in today's world, no matter the size of the company that you're part of. And then there is what I would call the plan to prevent and the plan to react if it happens. What are those? Understand it and work again with partners like us to build those things out.
John, as you rightly said, like this cybersecurity or security should be managed on top priority basis. It's one of the top priority, right? And as everyone knows, like more than 60% of SMBs are, like prone to cybersecurity attacks. Now, here, like a very important question for you, like what are some foundational cybersecurity practices small business owners can implement to enhance their data security?
Yeah, thank you again for asking that, because again, I get passionate, as you can see, when it comes to this space. We invest a lot of time and effort in it, and especially with our partners. We select world-class partners to work with us around these things. So I would say just 3-4 key things, right? The first is, it's not just about um, detection in the cyber world. It's about prevention. So, there's a difference there. Work on a plan that puts in place a foundation of prevention. So these are attacks and or scenarios that are prevented before they hit your network, not detection upon it hitting your network, right? So there's a proactivity that goes with that. The other part about it is that you have to look at your entire ecosystem. And this is where sometimes we look at it myopically and think that it's only this that I have to protect. We interface in every possible way. Things are in the cloud, so there has to be plans around cloud-based offerings that you may interface with. There's IoT devices. There are mobile phones that you interact with. There's, of course, your standard internet and platforms and VPNs and things that people have access to. There's an entire ecosystem that people often forget is beyond just, I'm behind an email and a phone, and that's how I react. So we have to build a plan around that piece. The other thing I already mentioned, which I think is critical in that, education plays a key role. Constant education, constant communication internally, and then build that into your culture, right? Have a little paranoia. It's okay. It's okay around that. Just like within our company, if you suspect that there is malicious emails or phishing or things of that nature, have a way to deal with that and educate each other on that piece. And then I think there's also a plan. Things do happen. What do you do when it happens? How do you react? I mean, you should have that in general if you work with us, not just on the cyber front, but what's your disaster recovery, or DRP, as some companies called it, or what's your recovery plan? If we don't want to call it a disaster, let's say it's not disastrous. What's your recovery plan if you have been impacted to some degree thereof? So those are foundational blocks that I would recommend. And again, that's what, obviously I'm talking quite a bit about what we do at Acronym. This is how we work with you.
And John, like as you rightly said, prevention, right? So I remembered a line like prevention is better than cure. And you were talking about education, we are emphasizing that education is very important. Can you share your thoughts, like how small business owners can educate their employees on cybersecurity and data protection?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll take a book out of what we do, and then obviously what we do with some of our clients. So I think there's a constant need for communication and a constant reminder. It's not a one and done, right? So take examples. Education is better by use of examples. Scenario A, scenario B, scenario C. What should you look out for? What you should do to talk amongst yourselves within an organization. Give examples of things that are happening. We hear about it every day. We turn on the news and we hear about companies that have had scenarios that under cyber attacks. So use what if scenarios and educate, and what you should do as an individual and what you should do as a collective. The other part of it is have some seminars. Bring in experts, have that conversation. beyond just putting in a solution. Of course, a solution is the one I talk quite a bit about here today, which is work with players like Acronym to educate yourself, but also to look at a solution that fits you, your need, your environment, what you're going through. And so I think it's important. We have, I'll give you another example. I send out, through my office, I send out safety moments and security moments and things of that nature to the company. Utilize that as a platform for dialogue. Utilize that as a way. And I know even though you're an SMB, you get your employees together, whether it's at the infamous water cooler, to use an old terminology, or whether it is something that you do more formally by, bringing in folks into a room and having an education. Talk about it. Bring in expertise. Communication is the most important factor.
Yeah, so communication is very, very important, as you rightly said. John, thank you for sharing your insights on this very important topic. Like your guidance on cybersecurity is indispensable for SMEs in today's digital environment. Now, let's talk about the expansion and future goals of Acronym. The journey of growth and expansion is a testament to a company's success and vision. No, we are eager to learn about the recent growth phase at Acronym and the goals you envision for the near future.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Obviously take a lot of pleasure in talking about that. We've had great success in growing the company. We rebranded the company in a few years back. My God, it was so well received. And along the rebrand, it was part of an overall strategy of how we continue to grow. And our growth comes in multiple ways. One of which is the continuous investment in products and services. We have a tremendous product and marketing group, and that supports all of our efforts where we sell and where we want to sell. So investment of products and services will continue to be part of our growth strategy. It's very important. And that is not just build it yourself. That's also partner with world-class partners in order to offer best in class. There's no point in reinventing the wheel in every technology evolution that happens. You have to have very good partnerships in that stance. The other piece is geographic. We operate as a company, we can operate all across Canada. We can operate in the U.S. We can even operate globally because of the ICT world does not need necessarily our own assets to ride what we call over-the-top services. A lot of those products and services are known as over-the-top services. We have, of course, our own infrastructure. We have over 9,000 kilometers of fiber throughout Ontario that we leverage for businesses of all size to provide what I mentioned earlier as connectivity, bandwidth, and to layer all the data services and other managed services on top of that. So continuous expansion there has happened over the years. So fortifying existing markets, going into new markets, so new geographic markets. Since we're in our own backyard, for those that actually we grow our assets. We launched Ottawa a year plus ago. We had assets in there, but we launched the whole marketing sales effort. KW, London, there's a whole bunch of other areas that we continue to fortify, and we'll emphasize some of the other services that we are actually offering, even cross-border. A lot of companies come to us, which is wonderful, and say, I need to move my data with no latency or next to no latency in a very secure manner. Talk to me. Right? So that's important. And then, the most important thing, of course, of all of it is investing in people, investing in our tools and systems. The people make the difference, as we know. Right. And so we continue to invest heavily in the skills to do managed security, to do, managed IT, to do all of these, products and services. You have to have good, strong, skilled individuals. And I'm happy with the team and where we are, and we will continue to invest in that.
Thanks, John, for sharing your thoughts and the growth initiatives. And the key takeaway for me is invest in people out of your answer. Thanks for sharing that. Now, how do these initiatives align with the long-term objectives of Acronym?
It's grow, and grow. The Canadian landscape, if you take a look, has shrunk. I mentioned some of the reasons why I joined the companies that I did was to create choice and create choice for businesses, SMBs, and for consumers. We're a B2B company, right? We sell directly to businesses. We don't sell directly to consumers. So part of our continuous strategy is continue to offer value to those businesses as the alternative choice to the big three. We're going to be it. We are it for many customers. And so our investments are continue to grow that base of excellent customers, continue to delight them, and invest in being that choice. That's so critical for us. And we're proud to be associated with a parent company that we're part of because they're behind our strategy. They continue, and we're not a newborn in this space. We've been around for almost 23, 24 years. Yes, we rebranded, but we're very, very pleased to say that we understand this Canadian landscape. We understand the SMB space, and we're here to continue to grow.
And we wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, SK.
And here I want to add one question.
Absolutely.
For entrepreneurs like me and for our listeners, like a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to expand, they want to grow. What are some key points that you can share with us, when they want to grow, when they want to expand, so that they won't, because a lot of businesses, they want to expand and they want to grow and they make a lot of mistakes, and they'll lose a lot of money. So what is your key piece of advice, key points when any business or entrepreneur, they want to grow the business?
Yeah, first of all, risk is something that you have to continue to take. You took it as an entrepreneur to start it. Continue to take it. I understand that there may be some fear in the background that the consequences of a wrong decision could be far more impactful to me as an SMB than a very large company. Believe you me, it's just as impactful to a large company, just at a different scale. So the thing I love about entrepreneurs, and especially the SMB space, and I spent a significant amount of my career servicing it, is that I just love entrepreneurs and their passion to continue to take that risk. So don't stop. You take calculated risks, you take informed risks. That's important. The second thing I would say is work with strong partners like Acronym to be part of that journey. Do your homework. Reach out to us. Do your homework. Associate yourself. Don't try to do it all by yourself, I should say. The third thing I would say is that, the old days of having to reinvent the wheel yourself, that's gone. Look and see what others are doing. Leverage that. Leverage the things that have gone well. Don't do the things that haven't gone all so well, right? And that is, again, by talking and learning and understanding those that work with many SMBs like ourselves. And then, the other piece is that don't always think that cost is an inhibitor. If you're working with the right partner, you'll find the right solution for you. The right cost solution, and more importantly, the right solution that's going to enable you to be successful in the business you're in, not the business that we're in.
John, your strategic foresight and ambitions for Acronym's journey ahead offer great inspiration to business leaders everywhere. John, before we conclude, could you share a key piece of advice or a critical insight for all our listeners, particularly those aiming to have a mark in the tech world or transitioning towards tech-centric solutions into their ventures?
As you know, I'm passionate as an engineer. I can't keep up with the technology myself. It's always going to be faster than anyone could possibly fathom and be able to keep up. However, do not be discouraged. It's an important part of your business. Tell me a business that doesn't have a technology link to it. Even the most traditional bricks and mortar businesses need technology to enable them to be in today's world of servicing their clients. So, learn, absorb, work with companies like Acronym to continue to be ahead of it, not fall behind it. And don't fear it. Don't fear it. Everyone can learn and leverage the technology, no matter what background you have, no matter how much in depth you are in knowing technology, and leverage the partners to do that.
John, it was a great pleasure hosting you today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, your experiences with me and with my listeners. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me and for giving me the opportunity to talk about Acronym and the things that matter to the SMB. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. As we conclude our engaging session with John, we are enlightened by his profound expertise in the ICT sector and his strategic vision for Acronym. From discussing sophisticated solutions for complex problems to the importance of managed services for SMEs and the criticality of cybersecurity, John has provided valuable insights that are crucial for any business navigating today's tech-driven world. We express our heartfelt thanks to John for sharing his experiences and strategies with us. Our appreciation also extends to our partners, exclusive banking partner RBC, exclusive shipping partner UPS, exclusive accounting software partner Xero, and our new and exclusive email partner Constant Contact. To stay updated with more informative content, subscribe to Canadian SME Small Business Magazine at CanadianSME.ca. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Join us again as we continue to explore and learn from the dynamic world of small businesses.